Hello, everybody. I'm Pastor Tim Gauger, Christ Our Savior Lutheran Church, Rockford, Michigan. This is another isolation meditation that we're changing up a little bit and bringing in a guest, another former vicar of Christ Our Savior Lutheran Church, now attorney at law, Brandon Wigley, vicared here, I think, Brandon, 2003, 2004. Does that sound about right?
That is correct. The best year of my life.
Well, that's what you might want to say, but you know, I did such a great job with Brandon that he went and became a lawyer. You know,
I wish it were your fault.
I was actually trying to take credit, you know, but maybe you know, good to see you, man. Maybe you could kind of just briefly update everybody where you've been, what you've been doing since you left Rockford.
Yeah. So I left Rockford, gosh, was it 2004? I was a parish pastor at Garden Homes in Milwaukee for about a year and a half. You all know that I had, desires to be in law enforcement. Steve Baker rings a bell to me. Pat Baker rings a bell to me. Became a law enforcement officer. Met a detective that was going to law school part-time at Marquette while he was a detective. And I'm like, I want to do that. So I started law school, I think that must have been in 2008, while I was teaching full-time as campus pastor at Wisconsin Lutheran High School. Ended up just transitioning to law school full-time for the last maybe year and a half. I became a prosecuting attorney in Milwaukee for about 5 years, and it tore me up. So much carnage, a lot of just like nonsense, but really good people in the system. And it was fun practicing law. Because I wanted to find solutions to all the problems that I was seeing in the criminal justice system, I got involved in just a lot of different organizations. You guys might know Lighthouse Youth Center. Mm-hmm. I'm the chairman of that because I couldn't find anybody else.
I don't think that's the reason.
Shining Star Christian Schools, a lot of places. And so I started on these committees for those boards, fundraising and going to other foundations, to try to partner with them. And a job opened up, long story short, at one of the larger foundations in Milwaukee. We give away about $25 million a year to nonprofit agencies around Milwaukee and the world. Bader Philanthropies is called, to look us up. And I get to oversee the employment portfolio, where basically we support nonprofits that try to put people to work in the city.
That's awesome. That's just awesome. So changing it up a little bit, what's your favorite candy?
Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
All right. Now, the reason I asked that is because my son's home from college, and I said I have a Zoom meeting with you, and he goes, well, and no offense to anybody else, but, Brandon was my favorite vicar. And I said, yeah, because, Sam was like, what, maybe 3 or 4 when you were here? And he
was a little guy.
He said, he goes, well, Vicar Wigley always gave me candy, and then he would let me play on his computer video games all the time. And I remember this, but anyway, you're his favorite vicar.
That's awesome.
So, but family, update us briefly on the family. Outstanding.
Here are my girls.
Beautiful.
That's Bria would be on your right? Bria's on your right. Kayla is on your left. And my little Lauren is at the bottom. So I've got a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 13-year-old. Pray for me. Lisa's doing well. She's teaching English and Spanish at Wisconsin Lutheran High School, and they're all loving life right now, despite all this.
You guys still live up in Brown Deer?
We live northwest Milwaukee. Built a home. The home was built about 10 years ago. We're still there.
Okay. Okay, because I had a call once to Milwaukee, and I remember you telephoned me and tried to talk me into coming so I could be your neighbor. But
Well,
as
we
you
all
know, I
know.
turned 35 calls down or something like that. And
I was gonna
don't feel bad.
say,
Don't take that personally.
we all know that there's not a call that you ever liked except Rockford, so that's good. That's fine.
Thank you. Checks in the mail. Another question for you. How about a memory, fond memory from your time here in Rockford?
Oh gosh, so many. I love the golf when my taskmaster would let me off to play. Um, but what I missed, and I was just thinking about this not too long ago, were the Tuesday morning breakfast Bible studies. Pastor made the best eggs, and it was just it was. I wasn't a morning guy, but the devotions were always fulfilling. Christ at the center. And probably my third best memory is waking up to kick your butt in floor hockey Friday mornings.
Yeah, I kind of figured that was coming. Story about golfing with Brandon. Two things come to mind with him. First person I ever saw in live back up a wedge. I remember we were at Pilgrim's Run, and I must have been closer to the green. You threw one in there and it backed up about 10, 12 feet. And you were so happy. And I thought only people on TV could do that. And then the more pressing memory is we were playing somewhere and I got a hold of a drive and I just squared it. And I thought, there you go, young man. And hit one and you kind of said, the bottom of the club. And we walk out in the fairway and you're like 10 yards past me. It was like the first time I ever felt old. It was that. And went out and got a new driver, and you still probably can hit it further than me. But, maybe one last question here for you. I guess kind of you got a really neat background in ministry, law enforcement, law, philanthropy. I think you probably have a sense of this, but like ways in which you kind of draw on your faith for doing what you're doing now, and how that all comes, like how being a Christian man maybe helps, or you know what I'm trying to say, gives you a perspective.
Yeah. Let me close my door real quick.
Oh, sure.
So listen, you guys, I work at a Jewish foundation, right? And some people here are Orthodox Jews, follow the letter of the law to a T. And it's interesting how different it is than witnessing lives that live by grace, that do things because we have been set free to do them to the glory of God, rather than doing things because they want to keep the law and impress God in order to be saved. Working here is rewarding because we get to help a lot of needy people, but it also drove me to get involved more with our Christian organizations. Most of them are WELS. So Lighthouse Youth Center and Shining Star Christian Schools, because in philanthropy and giving and blessing people with money and resources in order to carry out their mission and vision, we all know that there's a big difference between giving that is motivated by what Christ has done and giving that isn't. Both can do good, right? But the one means so much more because in Christian giving, it's all because of who he is and why he came. And that is the reason why we know who we are and why we're here. It makes all the difference.
That's awesome. Yeah, amen. Yeah, he was one of our better preachers as a vicar too, but
yeah.
Got it.
he talked too much.
It's really just great to see you, and you and your family and our prayers. We're so happy to have made this reconnection again. And God bless you.
Thank you very much. And I hope you all never forget how much you upgraded to me from Aaron Boehm in 1 year.
I'm sure you'll see that.
I hope so.